Hello, friends. For the past few months, the coronavirus happens to be the most happening family, far ahead of the Bachchans, Kapoors, Khans, Kardashians, Kennedys, and all other families. Now, we know from time to time there will be rock stars who will come on the stage, but the coronavirus has set the world on fire for mostly the wrong reasons. Now, I'll talk about the 4Ds which come to my mind: disease, downtime due to the sickness or due to staying isolated or having to stay isolated from others, what we're calling quarantine, due to displacement, having to stay in the hospital or having to stay at the quarantine center, or displacement from place of work, as in the case of migrants, and fourthly, the most unfortunate thing, that is death. So these 4Ds have been dominating the picture with respect to the coronavirus. In the next line of fire, after these unfortunate families, are the professionals who are providing community service in this time of corona. I am among the fortunate majority who are just in lockdown. We are just expected to maintain social distancing, wash our hands frequently with soap and water, and work from home. Now, that's all very great, except that the internet has percolated very deep into our lives, much more than ever before. Now, the number of posts have grown phenomenally. The number of webinars and e-meetings have grown exponentially. We could say that the more the merrier. But in this case, why it's not so interesting is because most of this content, most of the posts, most of the webinars, etc., they are harping incessantly on the new normal. And personally, for me, it has now become a terrible bore. And mera dil mange more. I wanted to share with you two pieces of good news. The first one is our brains have a lot of capacity, all of which we don't utilize. But then our brain is not structured and is not meant for taking this abuse of over-communication. Now, very soon our brains are going to say, "Bahut hua, enough is enough," and it is going to go away from this hyper-communication digital mode that we are in. Now, we know that whatever is not sustainable is basically temporary and it will pass over. Similarly, this hyper-communicated digital world in which we are there for the past couple of months, that is definitely not the new normal, and we are very soon going to move out of it, or some of us have all found strategies to move out of it. So the first news is that the hyper-communicated digital world is definitely not the new normal, because it is simply not sustainable. Okay, aren't you happy to hear that? I am. The second good news is most of these posts, most of these webinars are asking us to transform ourselves to suit the new normal. Now, first, we don't know whether what is the new normal, or there is going to be a new normal, but everybody is advising us to transform ourselves and so as to fit to the new normal. Now, transformation is very large. It is multifaceted, many sides to it. Changes in many different areas. It is all pervading, and it's hopefully a holistic orchestra of many small changes, which together make it a very large change. That is transformation. Now, is COVID going to be the only external trigger we are going to have? Now, today we have COVID. A few months down the line, we could have Avid. And then a few months from there, we could have, God forbid. So there will be any number of new external challenges, new external triggers, which will keep on coming to us. Now, for every trigger that comes to us, even if it may be a rock star rocking the world, But for every trigger, it is not possible to transform. Now, on the individual level, as well as on the organizational level, we are being constantly advised to transform. Now, none of us are Madonna, that we will transform many times over. Most of us are simple human beings, and there is a risk of transforming again and again. Now, if an individual goes through several transformations, it's pretty difficult for the person himself or herself to seek one's identity, to hold on to one's identity with so many transformations. It's of course confusing for others who have to relate to that individual. Now, when we take that to the organizational setting, again, if an organization transforms many times because of several external triggers which are coming along, then for all the stakeholders, it becomes very difficult. For example, for the employees, it becomes difficult. They sometimes feel confused that whom am I working with, which organization, what is the identity? For the external people, say for instance, the customers, they would feel very confused about the organization if it goes through frequent transformation. So transformation, if we undertake it, has to happen once, maybe twice, but not many, many times. That's not something which is useful or advisable. And we must remember that every transformation, because of the very large and holistic scope that it has, it requires also a lot of effort, a lot of other resources, could be money, could be time, could be a lot of endeavor. So it requires a lot of involvement, and it requires focus and commitment, deep focus and thorough commitment. So to do that again and again for an individual or for an organization will be quite wasteful of resources. Now, you know that I work with people and with organizations and help them to transform their personal lives, their professional lives, in case of organizations, how they do business, and what kind of impact they have on society. So you know that I work as a mind, career, brand, and communication coach, trainer, author, speaker, chat show host. So my everyday job is about helping people to transform, helping organizations to transform. But here I am telling you that transforming again and again is not as advisable, and transforming for external triggers is not at all advisable, because external triggers will keep on coming. Sometimes it will be small, sometimes it will be large. So it's not that we are going to meet rockstar COVID-19 in 2020 and never again. We are going to meet rockstar COVID something else in some other time. So there could be so many different external triggers that we would have to face from time to time. Now let's see, a guest comes to your home and would stay with you for a few days. So what do? Do we transform the home? Do we transform ourselves? Do we transform how we live, how we work? No. We just make some adjustments. We accommodate the host in our home. So we make some adjustments which are mostly temporary for the time being, so as to give the host the space and to live. Let's take another example. Say we are out in broad daylight, and then we are walking into our home or into our office. The amount of light decreases. So what do we do with our eyes? We accommodate to the reduction in light. So this is not transformation. This is a change. This is basically accommodation. In biology, we say it is accommodating the eye to the new level of light. So similarly, to the new level of circumstances, we accommodate ourselves with few changes in the relevant areas. And most of those changes would be reversed once the condition changes, once the external trigger changes. So when do we do transformation? Now, you do transformation only for one reason. Only when you have an internal trigger which is very compelling, which is urging you to make a change. Only then you would look at or think about transforming your personal life, or transforming your professional life, or transforming your entire life, only because of very, very compelling internal trigger. Similarly, for organizations, when there is an internal trigger within an organization, not an external factor, not an external trigger, not a competitor doing something, not because COVID-19 is playing havoc. It is because when internally the organization feels the urge to transform, only then we should undertake transformation. So therefore, the second good news is, just because there is COVID-19, you don't need to transform yourself. You don't need to transform your career. You don't need to transform your organization. If you feel an internal urge to transform, only then that's the only reason why you transform. Now, let's take the internal trigger and let's see what kind of internal triggers we could have. We could have a positive internal trigger. We could have a negative internal trigger. Now, a person goes for a test of blood sugar, and the report says that the postprandial after food blood sugar has crossed 500. And now the doctor says you must transform your personal life, your lifestyle, your work habits. So transform urgently. Now, the trigger is there, and it is an internal trigger because you feel the fear from your blood report plus what the doctor said, that unless I transform my self, my habits, my lifestyle, my working pattern, my career perhaps, I might have complications. I might have kidney problems. I might even die. So I'm afraid and I must transform. But this transformation is going to be very, very difficult to go through. And that's the case for most people, because they want to transform because of some fear, a compulsion, which is a push, which has some negativity, some fear element in it. Now, when we do that out of compulsion, it is our mind keeps on saying, I have to do this. And therefore, it becomes like a heavy load on the shoulder. And it's like walking uphill with a heavy load, and you're not enjoying yourself. You're feeling pathetic that you are having to cut down on your favorite food. You're having to change the way you work, etc., because there is a compulsion of your blood sugar having shot up. Now, there could be many other situations where we are compelled to do certain things and we are told to transform, or even if we tell ourselves that we need to transform, but because of some fear, because of some negativity, this transformation becomes very difficult to undertake, and generally people on the way, they lose track of it, and it is not such a happy story. Compared to that, if you transform, if you decide, if you feel the urge to transform from within yourself, if you feel the urge to transform yourself from within yourself, and it is a positive trigger, it is because you want to get into a new career. You think you love that career, you are looking forward to it, or you want to have a different lifestyle, because you feel you're going to be enjoying that lifestyle. There's an element of love involved in making this transformation, because we are hoping for something good which will transform our lives in a positive way. There is no load to carry on the shoulder. This is not a push with which you are making the transformation. It is a pull, that thing which you want, say maybe to look very gorgeous, and that thing is pulling you towards that goal. So that transformation is what is pleasurable. Now, before I even thought of working with people and trying to transform their lives, etc., I first did that for myself. And the success that I found in multiple areas, including shedding 30 kgs of weight with no medication, with no diets, with no strenuous exercise. And there are a few other transformations that I have gone through. Now, not many, few, and they were coordinated together. Those I could do because there was a love element involved in it. You know that I do what I love to do, and there was something I was looking forward to. There was something that I was aspiring to, and I have worked towards that through a transformation. So today I wanted to share with you, number one, why transform? Only when you have an internal positive trigger to transform. Not for any external trigger, not because anybody is telling you anything, only because from yourself you feel a compelling urge and a positive urge to transform. Same goes for organizations, where within the organization, if people feel that they need to transform for some positive results which they look forward to, which they aspire for, that is the time when they should take up the transformation. Now, if you liked what we discussed, what you heard, and if you want to participate in the conversation, which I intend to continue, please do subscribe to my channel so that whenever I am uploading a new video, you get an intimation and you can join in on the conversation. I am Priya Sengupta, Priya Sengupta in my mother tongue Bangla, and you know that I work as a mind, career, brand and communication coach, author, trainer, speaker, chat show host, and I help transform the lives of people, professional and personal lives, and also I help organizations in the way they do business and the impact that they have. Most importantly, I only work with people and organizations who are interested in a sustainable transformation. Please do stay in touch, and maybe one day you will transform with Priya India. See you. Bye-bye. Thank you.